Welcome to our YouTube recording on empowering dementia care. Dementia can be challenging, but with the right coping strategies, caregivers can provide excellent support and improve the quality for those affected. So in this video, we will explore a range of exciting and effective coping strategies to make dementia care more manageable and meaningful.
And we talked about the coping strategies that we used last week in our last segment, and some of it had to do with education and awareness. Do we know what dementia and memory loss is? What it means not only for the loved one that we're caring for, but for us as caregivers. How do we get through this journey? Effective communication was key. How to communicate with them. Routine and structure is always a plus when caring for someone with memory loss. There's certain times that you get up. What are you going to do to help them get ready for the day? What breakfast is going to be like? What activities are we going to do? Whether it is playing cards or going for a walk or going for a ride. What does meal look like? And then even at dinner time and then bedtime, there's certain routines that they know, they recognize. Even with memory loss, there's certain things that they will help you get through that. Safety measures in the home is also key to coping. What do we do to make our environment safe, them safe, and to keep ourselves safe too? And this allows us to continue the work. Respite. Respite is huge, and we're going to be able to touch on this in detail at some point about what it means to step away, to be connected outside, and then come back to them so that we can be connected with them. A healthy lifestyle, taking care of ourselves first before we can carry on this journey of caring for loved ones with memory loss. Support groups, whether it's your girlfriends, whether it's spiritual, mental, taking that vacation or taking that nap or that, going to sleep and having someone take over from you, that's the support that you need too. It ties in with respite care. But medication is also something that allows us to monitor and track the anxiety levels, agitation, even wandering. A lot of this has to do with what can we do to make this safe for them, to help them get through this without being too anxious and too angry or too, so that you won't be burned out. Advanced care planning is also important, and that is something that comes with end stages. What do we do when we get to that end stage of dementia or Alzheimer's? Emotional care, not only for them, self-care for ourselves. This is a big part of caregiving. These coping strategies allows us to, carry on our work, and not only as family members, kin, friends, to be able to support someone that's living with dementia.
Yeah. And so in home settings, you would probably create an environment that would be calm, familiar with the person with dementia. You would probably have maybe yellow, blue, some type of a soothing color. And be sure that the clutter is very minimum, that, they can freely move around, lighting, and, just access to being comfortable as they're in the home. And those are all a part of, person-centered. You are focusing completely on the person with dementia. I would also add that in a care facility, it would look more like, not having the person with dementia to be on a real tight, stringent schedule. I believe, Anna, as you said, you'd pay more attention to, what time that they could get up that would feel comfortable to them. And, they would participate, at a time and when they're feeling like they want to be, in a group setting rather than being pressured to do things on a certain schedule and a certain time. So I would really support any kind of focusing on, who they are and what they're familiar with and what's comfortable for them. And I think that really lessens the agitation and being uncomfortable.
Yes, and we're focusing on person-centered care think we talked about how this is the Cadillac or the ideal
Yeah.
approach to care. Are we able to, connect with them, not only spiritually, but mentally, in a sense? Physically, we're taking care of their personal care, their meals, nutrition, watching for safety issues around them, making sure that they're safe. The environment around them is safe. This is all part of the centered care approach, and them being valued as an individual, not necessarily as just a group of people that have dementia,
Yeah.
but is this a construction worker that used to love building stuff? Can I give him little blocks and tools that he could just hammer away at, Or can I go out and show him construction sites out there where he would just sit and watch those dump trucks and those cement mixers the whole afternoon if we let him? There's certain things that you did with them, certain things that you wanted to bring back into their lives, so that this makes it a coping, not only for you, but also for them.
Yeah.
I used to have a client that had, she used to love baking. So I actually got dough, Play-Doh, and she would roll that Play-Doh for like an hour and squish it and make different shapes. She would try to make cookies, she would try to bake bread. We had this, I said, well, we don't have an oven here, but we can certainly, put this somewhere where they can cook. And in her mind, it just brought that joy, and that I was more centered on her and the activities that she had done, in her previous life, loved doing with her children, her grandchildren, that I brought back to her, even with this Play-Doh. And I also do baking at certain times, and also apple core, the apple, we used to core the apple, and and watching that pillar, there's a contraption out there, some sort of device that we core and peel apples. You should see the joy on the faces of these individuals. When we talked about apples and how they climbed apple trees, it elicits some of the memories that they had as children, and also with their families and what they've done in this life. So that person-centered care part of it.
Yeah, yeah. I love to hear that. And I could just see, Anna, as you were the director of an adult day program, how valuable and important it is to really find out who a person is. So you can really find out, how to engage them. And that is definitely person-centered care. You have to know enough about a person to be able to, pull them out and get them involved. I was thinking about the other types of care that our system has gotten so busy and caught away with, and that would be like the task-oriented care, long-term care settings that, are really on a schedule and routines, and this person-centered care just gets lost, as well as with the task-centered care, because they're, busy trying to, deal with all the tasks that need to be done in an institution. Resource limited care, there's just not enough public health workers to be able to, engage in the personal centered care. And so I would guess we've come into more dementia care facilities where this person-centered care is just the Cadillac. How else would you work with someone if you're not focusing on who they are?
And even as we segue into, we talk about the facility,
Yes.
these three approaches also within the home setting, one-on-one with our loved ones, is also huge. Task-oriented care. We're busy, taking them to the doctors, picking up medication, cleaning the house, taking, the laundry. There's laundry every day. That task-oriented care is also found in the home setting. Have we actually able to parcel that away, or set that aside? It's a huge part of caring for someone, but can we be able to also focus on the person? I think this episode or this segment actually touches on how can we bring that back into the caring journey instead
Yeah.
of on our phones and said, I'm just going to veg out. I'm not going to deal with you. You can sit there because I'm just so tired. I've been running around all day, and this is the setting that we're bringing them to. The home setting is your long-term care. Resources are limited. Of course, we talk about finances, your access to respite care, your access to having someone sit in to stay with you and to give you a break. That those kind of resources, the support groups, the respite part of this, nutrition, a lot of these are also part of your own home care and your one-on-one care with loved ones.
Yeah, I was thinking about the family meetings and things that we have. It's just as equally valuable to have people come in just to do some of these other things. There's so much that needs to be done that you have to kind of parcel some of those things out. But being able to do that person-centered care will really make it a more comfortable environment all the way around. I wanted to dive right into culturally responsive care, as that has more to do with an approach that recognizes the cultural background, the beliefs and values and preferences. And that, again, is a model that's very valuable as we're dealing with older aged people that are dementia, because as we know, dementia is, more like pulling back the layers of an onion, a woman told me one time. And so, you end up with the core of innately who they are. And so you need to be able to understand that culture to be able to, keep them engaged. And so bringing that unique area into dementia care is going to be really, really key. I was thinking about, in the African American culture, how important it is for you to greet men and women as Mr. and Mrs. How important it is how you communicate, just the tone of your voice and how that sounds. Just so much respect as you're asking to do things or to redirect them in any kind of way. Some of the activities that are done, a lot of, singing and dancing. And this, again, is so much of who they are and really makes them feel like they're being celebrated. What do you think, Anna? Do you have some stories to share?
Yes, and we look at all in healthcare, we look at the 4 or 5 major groups. We have the African Americans, the Native Americans, and the Hawaiians, and the Asians, and the Latinx, or the Latinos. And these healthcare groups, these big groups ethnic minorities have been studied in detail. And there's certain ways that you address them. There's certain ways that you behave around them. You're talking about the 3rd generation Japanese, and there's certain ways that you address someone who's of 1st generation, Japanese that is here. And we're dealing with a lot of these aging ethnic minorities at this time, and it will only begin to grow. There's, the Ethiopian woman that even with memory loss and with 10 kids, catering to her, would still go to the stove to try to cook and turn on the stove or the oven and hopefully not blow up the house, that sort of thing. A lot of those still come back into play for them. Can we cook with them? Can we sit and garden with them? Can we, there's, walking into a home, you have to be able to understand what it means for this individual that you're caring for. I think the gist of caregiving, not only for professionals, but for family members, what were they used to? And as family members, we know our parents and grandparents' stories, but do we truly understand what they're looking for? For a lot of times, it's just safety and meals and, all the comfort things that will keep them happy. But is there another more positive way of engaging with them? And I think being culturally sensitive to all these different groups, or even our parents and grandparents, is huge. This is, the way we talk to them, the way we, infantilize. We don't say dear a lot or sweetie. That's not something that, we're also taught professionally. That's not something that you do in the healthcare system. And maybe you can do it at home, but with some sort of respect, to be able to remember that they're still individuals that mean a great deal to families, even though they're not contributing members of society now, but at some point they raised 5 kids and 10 kids, and that's
Mhm.
a plus.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. And I was thinking about photos too, bring back a lot of memories for those, for the family members that might want to forget that they're in another era, but their parents are somewhere else. And so I just love cultural responsive care. And as you said, that goes across the board with all cultures. And that has to be paramount when dealing with someone with dementia, because that is who they are. A woman was telling me the other day that they wanted to bring her father out to activities and stuff, but they would never put his hat on. And in his culture, this hat was very important. And so, it took his son coming in and, really sharing with them that this is a part of who my dad is. And he's not clothed unless he has his hat on. And so, those small little things are huge to them. That's again part of what made them who they are. So I hope that we have shared and enlightened a couple of areas that you might consider as you're working with a older demented adult. And we will keep bringing it to you as you stay tuned to our YouTube channel. So thank you for today, and we hope to catch you again.
So don't forget to click on the link below and follow us for any of the positive tips on caregiving with Anna Jones, and culturally sensitive and family meetings with Dorothea Harris. Thank you.
Thank you.